and hopefully this will work. So I am hopefully online now. I need to remember which camera to look at. So I'm just making sure it's going to go live on YouTube. So you'll have to put up with me for a minute, Vince, while I just try and get everything working smoothly.
No problem.
So it's saying it's streaming. That's good. Now yes, it looks like it's changed. I'm getting better now. It's only taken me 3 attempts to actually get it to work properly. Uh, we've had no sound. We've had no picture. We've had no comments. We've been through the whole thing so far today.
But you know what? It's a learning process.
Yes, yeah, and I'm still learning now, even at 2 o'clock
Okay.
in the day. So let me just share the link here. That is interview live streams is in there. Cool, that seems to be working. I'll put it in here as well. And I think that seems to be fine. I think we're live. I think we're working.
Excellent.
Cool. So yes, so for this live stream on the virtual Mantic Open Day, I am joined by Vince from Winged Hussar. So hello, Vince. How are you?
Just great. I'm caffeinated already now because I'm broadcasting live from the U.S.
Well, I was disappointed because I've come into work. This isn't my, bedroom with this
Right.
behind me. I've come into work and there's no milk, so I haven't even been able to have a cup of tea.
Ah,
So if I start going
horrible.
jangly, that's why I'm kind of low on caffeine. Um, so yeah, but I'm sure it's fine. It's nearly the end. The end is in sight now for me. It'll be fine. I can make it
Yes.
home.
There you
Um,
go.
but we've been working with Winged Hussar for a while on a number of books, and you obviously work with different companies kind of around the world. So do you want to just explain a little bit about who Winged Hussar is? I guess really to begin with.
Sure. So this all started. I worked in publishing for about 30 years. Before Winged Hussar, I worked for Black Library for 13 years, where I worked in sales, and I wrote a book for history book for Osprey. And when my time with Black Library ended, I wanted to remain involved in publishing, and there were things I wanted to do on my own. I'd learned enough about how things work and everything, so I started publishing history, uh, focusing mostly on Eastern Europe, but I go all over the place now. And then I got involved with some companies doing tie-in fiction and sci-fi and fantasy, which are really the things I'm very interested in. And I've worked with a couple of companies. I work with Warlord for both history and for the Antara series. I worked with Wild West Exodus for a while, and they've gone their own. But I've known Ronnie since our days at GW, and we had talked for a while about doing something with Mantic and the background, and we were still developing things, and they were still growing, and then things sort of came together, and we said, let's do this.
Mm.
So we started producing novels based on the background. The first one was Steps to Deliverance, which is an anthology sort of covering a wide range of topics within the Mantic universe. And then
I think it was Edge of
we,
the Abyss was the first one. I think.
I'm sorry, right, Edge of the
Yeah.
Abyss. You're right. I'm looking at my notes, and that's not it. But Edge of the Abyss was the Steps to Deliverance was by Mark Barber, which is a story. And now the newest one we've got is Drowned Secrets. Unfortunately, because most publishing is closed down at the moment, um, uh, it's not delivered. The physical book is not delivered to bookstores because heck, there are no bookstores
Yeah.
open. But it is available as an ebook. And if you go to our new website, which is so new that I keep on forgetting what it is, but whpsupplyroom.com, we have a limited number of uh, printed books available for people. If they order it, we'll deliver it pretty much anywhere in the world. If you're in the outside of the U.S., we can actually have it printed overseas and delivered to you.
Oh, cool.
So there's that. And I think what we wanted to do at some point today, Rob, is we'll give away a copy of the ebook to
Yeah.
someone.
So we'll do that on the Discord. So we'll get some of the
Yeah,
people who are on Discord. We'll give away some of the ebooks as well. So that'd be really cool. So yeah, if you can comment on here, and maybe we'll choose one of the people who actually comments on this video as well. give away a couple of the e-books to some of the people who are taking part in the open day. That'd be really awesome.
Sure. And then
So,
go
oh
ahead.
god, I say, what's Drowned Secrets? For those who haven't heard of it yet, what's that rough kind of? What's the synopsis of that one?
Well, it's based in the Trident realms. It's a book by Ben Stoddard, who's very active in the Kings of War community, um, and it showcases a variety of factions from the Trident realms to Basilia to dwarfs, forces of nature, and undead. And it's focused on a personal quest of that evolves into epic battles in the world of Mantica.
Wow, sounds cool. There's a lot of love for Steps to Deliverance, and in the comments today, we had a few people saying how much they really enjoyed that one. So I think that the books so far have been really well received.
I appreciate it. I mean, look, we try to interact with the community as best we can. We've actually the authors are very active, and they've solicited uh, some ideas from people in the community. And I think Mark Barber actually used some names from the Manta community as characters in the book.
Yeah. Oh wow, that's
So
great.
we're trying to be involved in it. Um, we want to promote it. We think it's a fantastic fantasy setting, and we want we're developing it as best we can. As as usual, there's always the caveat that we are a small publisher, so
Mm.
it takes us a little while sometimes to get these things going. And we're basically working with you guys to make this stuff as we go along. There's a
Mm.
lot of gaps to fill in. So we come up with ideas. We want to make sure they don't go against existing information and that they're that they're okay for what's going to happen moving forward in the Mantic world. With that in mind, we have another book coming out, Nature's Night, which was written by Mark DeSantis, but we've had to make some changes to it to make it jive with the third edition.
Okay, right, yeah.
So we've called in a super team of a couple of different authors to help bring that back into line. And we've had to do that, even though it's still a couple of months before it's going to come out, or scheduled to come out now. It takes a while to do edits and rewrites and all this stuff. So that's why we went that route.
Yeah, and I mean, and I know you often speak to Matt Gilbert because Matt Gilbert's the kind of lore master, I guess, for Kings of War. He's got quite specific ideas of kind of where he wants to go. So yeah, we kind of work as closely as possible with you guys to make sure that the books are accurate, really.
Yeah, I mean, it's important to make sure that the background is correct, that anything that we propose doing in here is still going to jive not only now, but in the future.
Mm.
And so we're trying to make sure we do that. Brandon Rossbaum, my son, who works on the fantasy side, is the editor for all this, and he coordinates most of that with Mantic. And nothing out of school, but I think he does a good job with that. We're trying to, like anything else, it's always a learning thing to see how people work and interact and everything else.
Yeah.
We're also, trying to embolden and grow the community in different ways. So, for instance, the one of the next books that Mark Barber's got coming out, which is a follow up to Steps to Deliverance, is going to have original artwork that we commissioned
Oh wow, sweet.
by the same artist who did Edge of the Abyss and Drowned Secrets.
Mm. Oh, that's cool. So you're
So
getting to kind of putting your stamp on the Kings of War kind of world, I guess, as well with artwork and things like that.
right, and of course it's going to be in coordination with Mantic. So it's not like we're going to go off kilter, but we're trying to create more to add to the community.
And so obviously you've done a lot of fantasy kind of books so far. Are you planning to move more into like Warpath and sci-fi as well?
Yes, yes. I mean, part of the thing is in any of this is just getting the people who know the background
Yeah, sure.
and can do that. So what I can tell you right now is Last Hurrah, which is a Dreadball novel,
Cool.
is actually in the final drafts. Again, what'll probably happen is we will have the ebook available before the print book is available.
Yeah.
We've got this and Drowned Secrets tentatively scheduled to come out in August, but that's based on what's happening with the community, and we hope that that's a safe time to bring stuff back. I mean, my printers have to be open in order for us to do it, but yeah. And the warehouse at Simon and Schuster has to be open as well, and both those things are closing now. But those are scheduled there, and like I said, the ebooks will be available ahead of time. And we are republishing First Strike, which is a novel by Christopher Verspeak.
Yep.
But we're going to re-edit it and add additional material to the novel.
Oh wow, that's
So
great.
that'll be the first of the sci-fi ones coming out, and then we hope that's going to lead to other stuff in that universe.
Yeah, because I
Again,
think Christopher, I know, has a trilogy potentially for that story arc. That'd be because that's one of the first comments we had today. Actually, was what's happening with the rest of that trilogy.
well, we're going to publish them.
Hmm.
He's got to write the other two, but yeah, but yeah. So the intention is we're going to publish it as a trilogy. Yep, and then we'll do beyond that if he wants to. I mean, it's really it is a combination of making sure the writer wants to keep writing,
Yeah.
and we're always happy as long as the product is good, which is the first thing, and the community responds to it. We'll keep going after it, and we'll look for other authors too. We're talking to some other people, but it's really just a matter of getting the right match in there.
Yeah. Actually, someone mentioned. Have you ever considered doing like audiobooks or those kind of things?
Well, funny you should mention
Oh
that.
wow.
So, Steps to Deliverance is actually done as an audiobook.
Oh cool. Right.
We have not released it yet because I'm basically negotiating an audio contract with two larger distributors. Currently, we've done some other books. We do our own series on the Great Martian War, which
Oh
is sort of
yeah, yeah.
like an H.G. Wells thing, and we've done all those in audio, and a couple of other ones, and we've done those through Amazon's general release for ACX is what they call it. But we're in negotiations now with two bigger distributors that allow us to get a wider range for this. So as soon as we finalize that, Steps to Deliverance will be out as an audiobook. And yeah, all the other ones will be out as audiobooks as well under the same umbrella.
Okay, that's great. That's really exciting. That'll be the first time I think we've ever had audiobooks from based on Mantic things.
Oh yeah, it's very good. And the gentleman who does it does all our books for us. And I think he does a great job and we work really well together. And we're very happy with that. And we just got to keep throwing things at him to do.
And so, anything else on the horizon? After, I mean, it sounds like you've got a lot on already, but what kind of else have you got planned?
So let me go back to the notes so we also I guess during the pandemic we've been running we ran a short story contest where people could submit short stories, and that's closed now, but I think Brand's going through that, and he's working with Mark Langworthy of Red Scar,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and we're going to choose the winner of that, and their story is going to appear as a campaign in the Kings of War RGB, uh, uh, RPG rather. It's I've had not enough coffee evidently. Um,
Because I think you've been
and
involved in the RPG a little bit, haven't you? I think,
we do.
yeah,
We worked with Mark on that. We're going to be publishing a book with him that's based on that. I think that's going to be right now. All of publishing is all screwed up, so I have to reschedule all the books that we originally had.
yeah.
But I would say that's probably the fall or the spring of 2020. We have a book being worked on right now by C.L. Werner on the Rise of the Celestians.
So that's
Uh,
Clint Werner, if people
yep,
might not. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yep. That's going to be sometime in 2021. We're not sure the exact date because it's a combination of when Clint finishes and when we can fit it in the
Yeah.
schedule with everything going
And
on.
that's quite an interesting one because that tells like pre kind of history from Kings of War about the kind of God War. So I know Matt Gilbert's been working with Clint on that one for a really long time. Actually, that was and that'll be really exciting when that comes out. I can't wait.
Right, and that's going to be a multi-volume series.
Yeah.
So figure at least three books out of that. We've got another book called The Battle of Dawn Keep, which is going to be released in 2021, featuring Elves by a gentleman named Tom Holtby. We've got another, as I said, we've got another Mark Barber book, which is Follow Up to Steps of Deliverance. And then we're in the works of trying to get Choose Your Own Adventure books in and back.
Yeah, that'd be great. Because so last week I was playing through the one that Matt Gilbert wrote online, and that was really, really good fun. We had a lot of people playing along and doing that. So it'd be great to see more of those Dungeon Saga ones, potentially something like that.
Yes. So we're doing that. And then one of the things we've also done, and what we've tried to do is we're all in on the Mantic universe. Not only if you go to the web store, not only can you have the books there, but we're also selling the Mantic kits that correspond to whatever
Oh
books
wow,
they have.
cool.
So it's sort of like a vertical integration. We're, as I said, we're all in on there.
Yeah.
We're all in to promote it any way we can. And they're slightly discounted from what you would pay normally online, but that's because we're trying to build a community there.
So we've had a few. We've had this question has been asked several times in the comments, and you probably get it quite a lot. But how would someone go about submitting a story to Winged Hussar if they've got a burning desire to write about, I don't know, orcs or halflings? What should they do? How should they get in touch?
Okay, so if you go to the regular website wingedhussarpublishing.com, or you could even go to the web store and just email us with a bit about yourself, maybe a chapter or something. We'll take a look at it and see if we can work it in. For short stories, usually what ends up happening is we'll put a call out for an anthology. We'll put a call out for those. You just have to look at our Facebook page or our website, and you'll see that call in there. But if you want to do a novel, you could send us something. We'll take a look at it. Unfortunately, again, it takes us a while to get back, and also not everyone who wants to write can or should be writing. But that doesn't mean we don't try and help you if we can. And that's
Yeah.
the one thing we've tried to do is offer comments to folks where we can on what they can do to make something work. Some stories are just a little bit too out there, but you have to, when you're writing a story like this, you have to think about what logically works, what flows in the world that you're talking about. You can't have necessarily a vampire, an elf, and a trident realm on a magic adventure somewhere.
That sounds like a great book.
Well, okay, well, we'll think about it.
I mean, actually, you talk about the short stories. I guess that's actually quite a good way to maybe find new talent. They can cut their teeth on something like that before moving on to like a big full novel. So, because I think of some of the people that have written some of the upcoming novels, did they have the short stories published as well in anthologies?
Yes, so we've had it's a great way to test people out is short stories. Now, the one thing I will say is there is a big leap between short story and novel. Some people can kill short stories, and then when it comes to novels, it's a little bit more difficult because you've got a lot more information to fill, a lot more story to go on. Yeah, short stories all compressed. Novel, you really have to expand on things, and that's where I find some people don't make that leap. But short story is definitely a way to cut your teeth on it, to develop how you progress from one scene to the next, how to develop characters in a compressed period of time, because you don't have a whole novel to explain his feelings and everything else. It's very short, so you have to be very succinct in the way you write. But yeah, it's a way to get started in things.
Yeah. I mean, I guess one of the big things is the word count between a short story and a actual novel is very, very different. I mean, what kind of word counts are you looking at for a novel compared to a short story, or is there no set kind of word count really?
Well, I mean, for short stories, we like to do somewhere between 7,000 and 12,000 words, because you need something that it's not going to be like they came into the woods, they killed people, they left. The end. Now, of course, that is a short story, but it's a question of what else happened? Nothing. It's fine. We'll just go with that. You really want to develop a little bit in there. With a novel, I always say it should be as long as it takes to make the story work. But that said, you really don't want anything less than like 80,000 words, and we tend to do somewhere around 100,000, because I think that that gives you a chance to fulfill, bulk out what you're trying to say.
And I think Brandon's worked quite closely with the Countercharge guys as well. He goes on there quite a bit to talk about which is really good. And again, it shows that community involvement as well.
Well, we're happy to. I mean, look, one of the things we do is we love what we do, so I don't mind talking to anyone about it. we've actually been on a couple of different Mantic podcasts. We've been on Countercharge. We've been with Coach on talking about First Strike and those things,
Yeah.
and we've been on Dreadball sites talking to those. So, and we're happy to do that. We'd love to talk to people about it. We can get authors to appear on podcasts for no extra charge. They're happy to talk about what they do too and their process and how they go about, how they like what they're doing, because all the people that are writing for us right now are not just writers; they're actually fans as well.
Yeah. So I guess for them it's a real passion project. So like you say, they're probably more than happy to talk about it and how they came up with the idea and that sort of thing.
It is. One of the things, though, you have to always be careful of is not let your fandom interfere with your writing, because you may be a fan of something, but you can't let that overarch the fact that there's a bigger story involved.
Yeah.
The fact that you know a lot about the background is great. You have to transform that into a coherent story that people are interested in reading about. So you have to create depth, you have to create character, you have to create a feel for it.
So if someone was, we've had a few people like asking if they were interested in the story. If people have got an idea, I mean, is the best thing to start with the source material, which is the kind of rule books or the source books that we've written, and then kind of look at a bit that you think you can expand on? Is that the kind of best way to go about it, or?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's you have. I think the best thing is you have to have a story in mind. You know the background, or you should know the background very well, I should say, and then so what interests you in there? What's your passion in there? Do you want to write about Night Stalkers? Do you want to write about? Are you interested in elves? Are interested in dwarves? Or perhaps if you were interested in, say, goblins,
the best race,
which someone may write at some point for us. Nope, no digs there, but just keep that in mind.
Just tell Ronnie to stop working me so hard, and I'll get round to it.
Think of it as a work project.
Okay, extracurricular.
Extracurricular. It's expanding the Mantic universe.
Okay, good. That's the excuse I need.
Have them give you at least an hour a day to write that. Anyway, so not digressing too much. But you have to know that first, and then you say, well, what's something that we could talk? What's an adventure? What would be the thing? Are you writing about a character? Everyone has to have a character in there, but is it a big, expansive story, or is it like a low-level thing? Most people try and look at this and say, well, it's like writing a war game report. Well, it isn't, because in a war game, you see the whole battlefield. And that's fine if you're writing a history, because then you know what's going on at one time. If you're writing a story, you could be a character on a portion of that battlefield. There are things going on the other side of the battle. You have no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
You either can't see them, or you may hear something. But everything is local. So the story has to be local. And then you can expand and give an